Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Kumaraguru College of Technology, Coimbatore. And I welcome all the participants today for the 7 days digital learning webinar series on biggest technology trends in 2020. I really like to welcome again.
Thank you, ma'am.
So everybody are here during the 7th day also. So I like to again welcome Mr. Kanagaraj sir, and he is going to give the topic on the creation of private cloud using Opennebula. So I request now sir to take over the sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for introducing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So, good morning to another present here. So it is my pleasure to share my knowledge about creation of private cloud using Opennebula. So we will have another 1 hour discussion. We'll have 1 hour discussion by having half of the session for discussing about the basics of private cloud and what are the components needed to set up private cloud. And we will second part of the webinar. We just move to hands-on session. I will give you quick overview about how to create private cloud with your single laptop or a PC that you're going to use, right? So if you have any queries, you can just put it in chat window. Whatever queries, we will clear the queries at the end of the session. In between, if you have any queries, you can just raise your hand, and Premium Ma'am will allows you to talk, unmute you, and you can clear your doubt. So hope everyone is doing good this pandemic. So we start the session. Premium Ma'am, shall we start the session?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So here is a quick overview about my session, what I'm going to deliver, and we're going to discuss about creation of private cloud. Is my screen audio is okay, ma'am?
Yeah, it's visible, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. So overview, what is cloud and types of cloud and its differences, and why private cloud needed, and we're going to discuss about why an organization should consider a private cloud, and example of private cloud that is used by some people in the world, or a actual customer they use private cloud. So we're going to discuss about it, and private cloud setup requirements. What are the hardware software components that we needs to have before we going to start the setup, right? And setting up private cloud, the actual step I have documented step by step screenshot. Actually within 1 hour we do not do all the hands-on, but since it is not time enough, I have documented all the things and I have prepared a report. I will share you the steps for creating and setting up a private cloud. And next, what are all the problems will be faced during the private cloud setup, and its challenges also we're going to discuss. What are the issues you will get when you're going to set up private cloud? So in continuation that, we'll have a conclusion about overall the session. Then we'll have queries. If you have any queries, we will discuss about it, right? So first, we're going to discuss what is cloud. So everyone know about the cloud computing. Nowadays it is plays a major role in computing platform. So even in your smartphone, you have n number of clouds. Every day you're going to access Facebook and your Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive, right? Then there are a lot of free cloud storages available. So we will. At the end of the session. I'm going to give you one free cloud storage, which is a Dropbox. I'll tell you how you can sign up account, and you're going to use that. And with that account, how you can able to get 16 GB of free account. So then cloud computing is nothing but your data storage and computing power. So without direct active management by the user, usually if you have a computer or a laptop or in your home or your college, you will have your system administrator, right? Or you will manage your computer. But here in cloud, there is no active management by the user, so it will be managed by some service providers or cloud infrastructure setup people. They're going to maintain the infrastructures. You don't need to care about its configuration, maintenance, right? Security updates, everything. Only you're going to use it uh, based on your needs, right? So if you think of cloud, there are a lot of applications. You can upload your photos, you can go for news reading, and you can access it in your pod or your tablet. You can have your iCloud, right? And you can have internet enabled services and your mail services and cloud applications that is hosted on the internet, and you have the n number of social networking running on the cloud, right? So this is about cloud. So different types of clouds, right? As we all aware about public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. So we're going to discuss more about on private cloud. So before we're going to discuss about private cloud, we just quickly look into what is public cloud and hybrid cloud. So public cloud, it is very scalable, reliable, and it's going to be inexpensive, right? Since pool of users going to use the computing power, storage, whatever the term that is applicable in terms of computing. So they're going to share common cloud platforms, so it is inexpensive and location independent. So wherever you go, you can simply sign up into your account and access files and services or application, whatever you want, right? So hybrid cloud, it is also scalable, also secure and flexible and cost effective. It is a mix of both the public cloud and private cloud. Most of the organization use all these three types of cloud, but private cloud has its own system administrator or a developer has to maintain it. But public cloud and hybrid cloud are managed by some people who host the cloud services, right? So when you consider private cloud, it is also scalable, secure than your public cloud and hybrid cloud. So we'll see how it is secure when we're going to implement private cloud. I'll tell you all these terms, how it is secure, how it is flexible, and greater control, right? So just move on to the next slide. So the difference, we need to know a difference between these three clouds. So when you consider public cloud, services are owned by, operated by third-party providers. As we discussed, you can take example, public cloud is going to be your Apple iTunes store, right? So these are some of the examples for public cloud. Your Google Drive storage and OneDrive. These are all examples of your public cloud. And maintenance is backed by the service provider, not by us, right? And you can pay as you go model. So whatever storage capacity I'm going to use, for example, if I'm using 1 TB of cloud storage for over 1 month, I need to pay based on my usage, right? So that is what a pay as you go model, right? So lesser security, and as the platform is shared across different users, so it is security concern when you're going to use public cloud. So lesser flexibility and control over the cloud environment. You do not have reconfiguration of your cloud. That is difficult, but in case of private cloud, you can do that. Reconfiguration of your own cloud, you can do that. So next, hybrid cloud. So it is a best of both the worlds, which means your public cloud and private cloud. So greater flexibility and more deployment options. Greater flexibility in the sense you can have different platforms and you can have access and host it in the hybrid cloud platform. It supports mixed environment, so that's why it is hybrid cloud. So next one, cloud busting is also possible. You can reconfiguring and you can expand your cloud. You can mix different types of cloud within it. Everything is possible. So the problem here is network complexities, because you're going to merge with the setup of private cloud and public cloud, and you need to authenticate from public cloud to private cloud users, vice versa, right? So it could be a network complexity in physical network infrastructure wise, also complexity, also application configuration wise, also it is having issue. So can be extremely expensive. So because you need to support both the platforms, you need a lot of software tools, experts needed in both the platform. I mean the public cloud and private cloud. The person is having knowledge in public cloud and private cloud. They need to have experience in both the category. Then only you can able to maintain the hybrid cloud. So when come to our part, private cloud, so dedicated to a single organization. So if you want to have your cloud for storing your students marks list or a mock information, you can use your private cloud, which is higher security and resources not shared among other users. Only within your organization you can able to have your access, resource access. So it increases greater security when you consider the. So when you then next is greater flexibility, control over the cloud environment. If you want to have your cloud needs to be switched off for some period of time. For example, you have your private cloud for your college or your company, and you have stored all your user details in your private cloud. And suddenly they are not suddenly, maybe summer vacation or winter vacation, they're going for. Vacation means during summer and vacation, if they're on vacation, you can just simply switch off your server and save your energy, right? And there is no manpower needed to maintain such time, right? So that is what it is, greater control of cloud environment in private cloud, and security wise also it is very good. And next point, purchase and maintenance has to be backed by the organization. Yes, we need to have our own servers. We not depending on Amazon or Google or any other cloud service providers. We need to have whatever the requirements. Based on our requirements, we can have our resources, right? So then expensive than your public cloud, because in public cloud, whatever resource you're going to use, only you're going to pay for it, right? But here, if you own a server, for example, 1 TB of storage with Xeon processor, and it is almost cost with 32 GB of RAM and having a power backup hot swap hard drive, which will cost you around 2.5 lakhs, right? For a single server, I'm telling minimum server requirement. So that is not needed in case of public cloud. So that is why it is very expensive than your public cloud. So am I audible and presentation is okay? Please, any participants, please confirm. Am I so fast or it's okay for discussion? Any of the participants, please acknowledge me. Can I go like this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. So next we're going to discuss about the private cloud. That is our topic for today's discussion. Why private cloud needed? The main benefits for our organization, as we already discussed. it is flexibility, right? So you can have your own servers, whatever the way you want to configure. You want to add up some server, you want to mute some server, you want to decrease your RAM or increase, upgrade your processor, whatever thing that is possible, you can do that, right? So guaranteed resource availability. So unlike your sometimes you have faced WhatsApp service is not available, right? Sometimes you have faced Twitter is not working. Sometimes faced your what we can Gmail is not working, but it's not the case during some curfew. You governments have blocked our social networking kind of things, and people who are residing at Kashmir side. We could not have access to their person who is studying in Chennai or any other remote places, right? But if you have private cloud, you can have your entire control, whatever the application service running on in your private cloud, you can decide whether that particular service is needed to run or needed to be stopped, right? So that is what guaranteed resource availability. For example, your student wants to access your campus private cloud and he wants to download some course material from private cloud. Yes, you can. He can do that, right? So at any cost of time, it's 24/7. It is available, right? That is what a guaranteed resource availability. So strong security, yes, it is strong security because it is having a private network. So naturally, it won't get any intrusion. May get intrusion, but it is very having very less chances, right? So regularity compliance and in some cases cost saving, right? So regularity compliance is based on some government norms. You need to have the server usage, right? By the user, you need to monitor the user activities. Some malicious activities are there. You need to bound government norms according to your regional policies, right? That is what your regional compliance, regularity compliance. Then next we move on to the topic why an organization should consider a private cloud. So all these 5 points will be applicable for our educational institutions, those who want to have their private cloud. It is very easy to set up your private cloud. Many of you think that is very difficult. If you have advanced with the Linux commands, then you are good at managing operating system services and you are good in some you are at some point of level if you are good at commands and managing services, package configuration, some hardware basics, then it is very easy to set up your private code, right? So just skip the slide, sorry for that. So customizable tool and process, it's available. I'll tell you what is the customizable tool and process available in the Opennebula. And regulatory and compliance requirements, cost effective scaling, security control, and you can migrate your private cloud to hybrid environment, right? So for example, I'm having a server and running some websites in it, few websites for my organization or my institution. Later, my user growth needs, I cannot manage my server. I want to increase my server, and I don't want to manage it by our one person, but I want to move my private cloud to hybrid environment. So you can quickly migrate your private cloud to hybrid environment. So that is possible. So for these reasons, you can consider your private cloud for your organization, right? So next example of your private cloud. So here I have searched a few case studies in internet, and finally I got this in Quora. So which that an expert discussed about this particular case study who used a private cloud. So here is a famous banking company, right? Famous bank SBI, which has set up, built their own private cloud on top of VMware technology. So here in our webinar, we're going to discuss about how to create a private cloud in hypervisor called your Oracle Virtual Box software, right? Similarly, they have used Mageddon. I think it is open source cloud platform where they're going to deploy it on VMware hypervisor, right? And they wanted to take advantage of benefits of cloud computing. So that is your rapid and simple development for developing so many banking services and less time to market your service. Since it is in your private cloud, you can easily deploy that in your n number of branches around India in SBI. So that is very less time. No need to depends on some vendors to come and configure the application for banking services. That is very easy here, right? So next one, cost efficiency with your services. So you're going to develop the platform and you're going to hire some software developer for good budget, and you're going to do that, right? So it is cost efficiency. No need to pay for them also. Once you buy the server, lifetime of the server, you can host a number of service and you can have your own customer, right? So more utilization of server resources. Yes, you can have your most of the users occupied to 80% of the server utilization. You can monitor, and if that increase, you can scale your server, right? That is possible. So I just check. You have any queries in chat? Yes. Okay. So I'm just continuing. I think there is no questions. If you have any questions, you can have. We'll have a discussion at the end of this session, right? So, and less capital and operational cost. Yes. So whatever the requirement, based on your requirement, you're going to purchase, and this cloud data center setup is available in that Mumbai. I think it is during 2017. Don't know about the current status of SBI, how they are running the private cloud. You can go through some case studies of any other organization by simply you can check it out in some of the portals which are using private cloud. And this is the for discussion. And here about some challenges they faced and how they saved their private cloud due to some natural disaster or fire accidents, loss of their data center. So definitely they can protect it from such disaster, right? If you have private cloud, so that is possible because your entire server is under your control physically. So you can do that, right? So they wanted disaster recovery solution, which simply is making your data center replicated among different cities. For example, here at Pilamedi, we having some SBI branch, right? If you want to have backup, you can simply take up your backup to nearby, maybe Tirupur SBI bank. You can have your replicated servers. So some servers goes down, and you can take data from some other region servers, right? That is possible. And private cloud, they got they are running in a public cloud completely like CDRLs, which means you're going to run your regional servers in different location. If you want to switch off some of the servers that are not active, you can do that, right? So hybrid cloud is always about consuming a service from one private cloud and also having some service running on public cloud. That's what your hybrid cloud. So SBA is having both the clouds, private and hybrid cloud. So next, we're going to quickly discuss about the private cloud setup requirements, both hardware and software prerequisites. So based on my experience, I have used virtualization supported laptop. In my case, you can use desktop workstation or server, which at least have 16 GB of RAM. So because we're going to run n number of VMs to have our hypervisor node, right? So that you need more virtual memory. So in my case, I'm using 16 GB of RAM, i5 processor, and 1 TB hard disk, and I'm running Windows 10 operating system. On it, I'm having VirtualBox hypervisor installed. You can download the recent version of VirtualBox in the URL provided, and you can download your Ubuntu ISO image. So I just tried it in recent version 20.04 LTS, but I had some configuration error, and I have configured it in Ubuntu 18.04 LTS. So I like to work in recent version of software tools at any cost. As we are a computer science professor, we also very keen to the latest version and check out the new functionality and features, right? So always it's a common practice. You always to have your recent version software and you're going to use it without any bugs, and you have naturally you have your latest features, right? And you need to have at least 1 Mbps of internet connection, because for you're going to install a lot of packages. You need to download the Ubuntu ISO and your VirtualBox and packages supported in. You're going to do some. We're going to do some live package installation. So for that, we need to download a lot of packages. So if you have 1 Mbps transfer rate for downloading files and packages, it's good, right? Even if you have 4 GB of RAM and 500 GB hard drive for i3 processor, also you can deploy, but it is you will face some performance issue, right? If you have this configuration, it will be very easier for you to configure and without any performance lag, right? So that's all about quick presentation about the prerequisites and basics of your private cloud. Now we move on to the topic setting up private cloud. So until there's any queries, if you have any queries, I think we have crossed half of the session. So now we're going to discuss about how to set up private cloud. So this is a requirement before you're going to set up. You have your Windows operating system and you have installed the VirtualBox hypervisor and have your ISO image of your Linux OS, right? So if you have any queries, you can just type in the chat window quickly. I give you 1 minute time for your queries. Then we move on to the actual step that we're going to follow for setting up uh, private cloud. So here we having queries. Karthikeyan are asking about, is open cloud secure or not? Open cloud means, sir, what you, I think Raghuram sir, you can unmute your mic and we can use the mic so that it is very easy. So rather than typing again, if you have queries, you can put out. I ask Primya ma'am to unmute you and we'll go for discussion. So okay, sir. Primya ma'am, are you online?
Sir, is there any restrictions for open cloud?
Restriction
When compared to private cloud?
restrictions, sir. I think there is no restrictions, sir, in operational wise, feature wise. You can configure most of the, even some of the options not there in private, sorry, public cloud and hybrid cloud. You can try it actually, because your cloud is your own. That is in your hand, private cloud. You can configure based on your needs. There is no limitations in private cloud. There are a few limitations, but when compared to feature wise and operational wise, there is no such limitations, sir.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Okay. And go with the next question. Madhavan sir, are you online? Please unmute your mic. Madhavan sir is asking RAM less than 16 GB, we can able to set up. Yes, yes, sir. You can able to set up. Even you can have because earlier days I used to work with 8 GB of RAM. So when you're going to run your operating system Windows 10, almost it's occupy 3.5 GB of storage. One second, I just project you. What is my current
Okay,
CPU?
sir.
Sorry, memory usage. I think you can see it. Can you see my task manager, sir?
No, sir.
One
Simply
second.
gray color.
One second. Sir. I just shared my task manager. You just check out my current memory and CPU usage. I'm running operating system, my hypervisor, virtual box. I think you can see my screen now. Can you able to see my task
Yeah, yes,
bar,
sir.
sir? Task manager.
Yeah, yes, sir. I can see. I can see.
So CPUs is almost 74,
70.
65. It's going on like that, right? So and memory usage
Yes,
is
sir.
10 GB. I'm having 16 GB of memory. I'm running operating system on hypervisor, and hypervisor I'm running two virtual machines. So for all this, it
Okay,
occupies
sir.
10 GB of memory. So if we have 8 GB, then it is very difficult to run. Not
Oh, okay,
not
sir.
not difficult. Based on that, you can reduce your VM configuration, memory level, and you can manage to run it. It is not a problem. You can still run with 8 GB of RAM and i3 processor.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. And yes, I think you have answered queries that is posted in the chat. Shall we continue for the steps that we're going to follow? Please, someone
Yes,
acknowledge
sir.
me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Continue.
Thank you. So just trying to share my steps so that, wait a minute. Once again, I'm trying to open the PDF file for projecting. So can you see my Acrobat file for setting up private cloud? All of you, can you see my PDF file?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So actual setup, I'm just putting it in full screen mode so that. So I have prepared. I could not post all the screenshot in PPT. It's very difficult because I'm having a lot of commands to be projected. So I have chosen this method for you to project, for you to design. So here is the steps. So I have provided a full step-by-steps configuration to manage your cloud. Before we going to see the steps, we just look at the architecture of my private cloud. So here we having a hypervisor, two hypervisor, which means two virtual machines running on my hypervisor. So the worker node 1 and worker node 2. In our example, we are going to consider worker node as front end and worker node 2 as hypervisor host. And your master node, we can have it as our own Windows 10 operating system, which I am running in my laptop. And you have your VM repository, shared VM repository, or you can download it from Opennebula cloud. That you can do that. You have drivers, images in your master node. So the master node controls your worker nodes, such as your front end and hypervisor node. Hypervisor node, this is your hypervisor node. There you're going to just use your annotation so that you can able to mark, right? So this we consider as your front end, Opennebula front end node, which controls your hypervisor nodes. This is your hypervisor node. So in our private cloud, we having two systems. Actually, I'm having one laptop, and on it, I'm going to install hypervisor, and I'm going to create two VM. So this is my VM1, and this is my VM2, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure my hypervisor on my Windows operating system, and I'm going to create these two VMs. Okay. So 1 second, I just clear my annotations so that I'm able to. I just clear my annotations so that go for next step. So first step, you have to install your Opennebula hypervisor. Sorry, your Oracle VirtualBox hypervisor, right? And second, what's going on? So after you installing your hypervisor in your Windows, you have to open your Oracle VirtualBox and you have to create your virtual machine. So step one, you're going to create, click on new. I think many of you are aware about how to create a virtual machine, but still I will demonstrate how you're going to create a virtual machine for creating Opennebula front end and hypervisor node. And second step, you're going to allocate your RAM space for your virtual machine. In my case, I have allocated 2 GB of RAM here for my virtual machine. So in my third step, I'm going to create a hard drive for using my virtual machine setup wizard. So I'm going to create a image format, that is virtual disk image format. You have 3 image format. With the default option, you can just go with the default option for creating new hard drive. And next step, you have to create a option, that is storage or physical hard drive. So it will ask you to dynamically allocate it in fixed size. You can just go with the dynamic allocation for better performance. And next step, you're going to specify the hard disk size for your your front end node. So I have allocated around 200 GB for my front end node. And the next step, you're going to create your VM name. And after creating, you will have options like this. It will be come to this particular location. Once you get the template, this we call it as template. So this particular portion. So whatever the template that you're going to create, it will be listed here. And once you're going to create your template, you have to just click on the start button, right? Start button, and which will ask you to locate the ISA image of your Ubuntu ISA image that you have already downloaded, right? So you have to locate the download image for installation, and you have to start your installation process. Select the language and go with the install Ubuntu option, and your installation process will start. And continue to the regular Ubuntu installation. Select your language, keyboard layout, right? And you can choose with minimum software installation or full installation you can go with. And installation type, you'll have completely erase and install Ubuntu and something else. You just go with first option, since we're going to create an entire hard drive for only for Linux operating system. If you want to have dual boot, you can go with using something else option for customized partition, right? So once you proceed for next step, it will be asked you to confirm to partition your virtual hard drive, and allows installations to start. And select your time zone Asia Calcutta for proper time setting to your VM. And configure your user names password for your VM. So once you completed, you will get login. It will ask you to restart your VM, and then once you reboot it, you will get your VM booted. So finally, you will get VM like this, right? So once you install the VM, I just project it in your screen so that you can able to see the actual hypervisor in my system. I shared the entire screen for your understanding. Can you see my hypervisor Oracle VirtualBox, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So here I have four virtual machines. So in our case, for private cloud setup, we're going to use two VMs. So one is Ubuntu, on means Opennebula front end FE. So I'm going to use for, we have seen in our network setup architecture, I mean the private cloud setup architecture, we have used two hosts, right? I just project you so that you can able to visualize it now. So in that setup, configuration steps that that I have shown. Just wait for a minute. So in this setup, we have used two VMs, right? This one and this one. So this one is worker node is our Opennebula front end, and worker node we going to use for hypervisor host. The VMs we going to host it in that particular host, and we going to run on, right? So we have created, so the same way, however, we have created the Opennebula front end. Similar way, you create with the same version of Ubuntu and create install your Ubuntu and have two VMs. First, run your Opennebula front end, and in that you have to install a few packages for configuring Opennebula service, which is your private cloud service controller node. So once you run it, you will get your virtual machine similar to this. So be ready with this. I will give you steps. What all the commands I have prepared in this particular document, and I'm just projecting it for your understanding. For time being, we could not try that lively. It will take a lot of time. So quickly, I will give you the steps. So before you're going to install, we left with slide here, right? So after creating and running your VM, you will get your login, get into the login. After that, you have to make a bridge connection, right? So where you can able to set a bridge connection means go to select your VMs and go for setting, and in your network you have adapter one, right? So in that you have to choose enable adapter, and here you need to usually it will in network address translator, but you have to use bridge network adapter option, right? And click apply. In my case, I'm using Wi-Fi internet connection, so it's getting Qualcomm Atheros wireless network adapter. If you are using Realtek Ethernet, you will get the respective adapter name, right? So why I'm using bridge adapter? Can anyone answer why we need to use bridge adapter option here? If you know the answer, you can just type it in the chat window. Why we need to use bridge adapter setting for our Opennebula front end VM? If anyone know the answer, just type it in the chat window. We quickly move on to the next step for discussion. Okay, I just to tell you why we need to use bridge adapter. Whatever the host adapter setting that is in my Windows 10 operating system, same network setting will be applicable to this particular VM. So for that, we are using bridge adapter setting, right? So once you do that, I just projecting the steps. So once you do that, bridge network adapter settings, you have to update your repository of your Ubuntu by the command sudo apt-get update. So once you update all your package, you need to add your repository, Opennebula repository. There you're going to download the packages. This is the command you're going to use for adding the repository to your VM, and install MySQL database. MySQL database is used to store all the users information, and storing database for Opennebula server, which will be accessed for storing many informations regarding user information, user settings, security settings, everything, right? So once you configure, you can download, you can use the command sudo apt-get install, just have apt-get install software property commons, which allows you to install prerequisites for your MySQL database, and you have to import the MariaDB key for downloading the repository content, and add the repository, and you're going to install MariaDB-server and MariaDB-client. These two packages allows you to configure your MySQL server Once you finish that, you have to configure your MySQL server for secure authentication. For that, you have to use the command sudo MySQL underscore secure underscore installation. So which will allows you to change your root password, allows you to set your root password and set the password for it. So finally, your MySQL login will be ready. So just projecting. So once you install your MySQL, you just test your MySQL login. So MySQL login, once you log in, your prompt will be like this, MariaDB. So then we're going to after setting up our database. Opennebula by default uses SQLite. So SQLite will not be good for production environment if you have more than 10 to 20 cloud hosts, right? So it is very difficult to manage with SQLite because it is lightweight database. Since if you need a large number of hypervisor node for your cloud, you need to have MySQL server to save all your user details. And here is the steps to install Opennebula packages. Here we're going to install 4 packages: Opennebula. So here I have given you different 4 packages and its descriptions. This is the main packages you used to do for configuring the core Opennebula service. So once you're done with that, you have to configure your database to access your Opennebula private cloud. So you have to open this particular file 1d.conf and disable the SQLite default database configuration option, and you have to enable with MySQL settings for accessing Opennebula to MySQL. You need to change the option in this file, and then you have to set the password configuration option like this: server name, localhost, port 0, and one admin. So one admin is the user going to control your private cloud in Opennebula environment in open host. So then you need to set up your password, and then you have to configure your firewall settings to allow that particular port to be enabled for access. And you can, once you completed all the steps, you can start your Opennebula service using command system control start Opennebula Sunstone. Sunstone is the web user interface to control our private cloud environment in web user interface. And once you run with it, once you log in with the one admin, you can use the command one user. So if you get the output similar to this, your server is ready for hosting private cloud. So this is the final step at Opennebula front end node. So next step we going to, so you can access the Opennebula frontend by HTTP colon localhost or the IP address of your first master node 1 followed by the port number 9869. So once you log in it, you will get the controller page similar to this one. I just project it to you. So you will get a dashboard like this once you log in into your private cloud dashboard of your Opennebula front end. Then just going for next step, quickly move on to the next steps. So this is the step you need to follow for the front end. I mean the worker, the front end node, and you need to set up hypervisor node. Few packages you need to install at the second node. That is your hypervisor node. There also you need to configure your repository for installing it, and there you need to install the important package KVM, kernel based virtual machine. So for acting hypervisor node, you need to install these single package Opennebula-node, and you need to configure passwordless authentication for accessing your VMs from front end to your hypervisor node. So this is the step how you're going to uh, uh, make your authentication using SSH secure cell. So once your authentication is done, you can add your hypervisor host. I just tell you the quick steps how you're going to add it. So once you log into your dashboard of your front end, you will get your hypervisor node like this. And once you create it, you have to come to the infrastructure part, and you have to click on the add option, and there you need to give the IP address of this particular node. I just project you the our private cloud setup environment. You have to type the IP address of this worker node too. So actually, based on your configuration, you have to type your IP address. And once you type your IP address, you can add your virtual machines. I mean, the hypervisor host similar to this one. You will have your here. I am not run my hypervisor node. So I just check in my hypervisor node whether it is running, and trying to redeploy it, and I'm going to check with the password. So this I'm running both the VMs, which means your front end and your hypervisor node. I'm just checking for the IP address of our hypervisor host. So quickly log into the hypervisor host and check for the IP address. So the right one is my hypervisor host. There you have to configure the packages that we have discussed so far. I'm just checking the IP address. So with this short time, I cannot give you the entire steps for configuration, so that I have documented everything and I have projected, right? So in my case, worker node IP address is 192.168.0.106, and my front end node, which is worker node, cloud controller node, that is IP address is 192.168.0.105. So here is my front end node IP address, that is controller node IP address, and it's ported to access the dashboard. So here, if you want to add the IP address of your hypervisor host to add your physical machine to your cloud, right? Your private cloud, 192.168.0.168, I think. Just check it. So it is 106. 106, and click create. So once you created it, this is getting error or older VM, and just editing it. So once you click and added your worker node to your private cloud, just wait for some time. My IP address have changed since I'm using Wi-Fi router. It will allocate different IP based on DHCP. So I'm deleting my older private cloud host. So once you added, you just click on refresh button. And, I think I have typed the wrong IP address. I just try it again. For that, I'm just trying to delete the old one. So make a refresh and just logging out and come back again. So just sign out and then coming back. So take part your infrastructure, host part. So remove this one. So disable and then delete it, right? And then click for refresh. I think I'm getting some issue. So you have to add your host, your private host, whatever the host you want to add it to your cloud. You have to give your IP address. The actual IP address here is, again I'm checking. So the hypervisor host, it is 192.168.0.106. 192.168.0.106 and click create. I'm just trying second time, then tell you the steps. Maybe some service issue. If I restart and then try to create a new hypervisor host, it will be created. So here you will get running status, right? So I'm getting some error. I just debug it later. So once you get your status is on, so here I'm getting some issue. So I just check for log. For time being, I just quickly tell you the steps. So after you successfully add and get the status on, you have to come to the steps uh, template, select the VM then, and from that you can just download the template from here, select the storage and apps. So whatever the template VM, if you want to run on your private cloud, all the templates are different operating system. Here you can see Ubuntu 20.04, Fedora 32. So it is there in public cloud. So if you want to download that operating system and run it in your private cloud, you can do that, right? So here private cloud is our worker node 2 and worker node 1. So I'm simply importing the smaller size of VM. So that is only the command line support, TY Linux KVM, right? So it is only 200 MB of Linux image, and which will allows you to run the Linux in command mode, right? So click download option. So add it to your cloud. Then select your hypervisor host. So which hypervisor host you want to deploy. So we have added a host, right? So front end, actually front end we have created. So you have to select that physical machine and you have to click download. So once you download from public cloud, your image will be downloaded in your private cloud. So now you have your template in your private cloud, which means your Opennebula front end. There you can create your VMs to run your VMs. So click on it. So once you create it, downloaded the template, you click on create option and type your VM name. So VM names here you can have maybe NGP VM. So choose a hypervisor driver as KVM. We are using KVM hypervisor. So description, whatever the description for your VM, you can configure it. Logo, you can what operating system you are using. Based on that, you can use Linux or Ubuntu or Windows. You can run your Windows 10, Windows 6, all the Windows operating system in your private cloud. That you can do that. I have downloaded Linux one, right? So I'm using it. The memory, if you want to configure, either you want to have 1 GB or a memory, or based on your requirement, you can have it. I'm just allocating 500 MB. So CPU, you can allocate either 0 or 1, or how many CPUs you want to use from your hypervisor node, you can allocate it. So all other configuration parameter, you can create it based on your need. Once you've given the mandatory field, you can click on create. So which will be created, uh, and once it is created, NGP VM, it will be listed here, right? I'm already having other VMs. Once you created, you just go back to your instance VM, right? And click on add here. So from your template, you can create it. Select your VM template and click create, right? So once you created that particular operating system is uh, installed on your hypervisor system. How we are installing our operating system in our laptop, right? Similar way, it is installed in your hypervisor node, which is your worker node too, and it will trying to boot. Just wait for some time. So you will get the status. It is in running state, and it will obtain host IP address using DHCP, and it will be displayed over here, right? So I'm just waiting for VM to be turned to running state. So once you click, once this particular VM state is turned to running, and you will have a BNC option here, you will get a monitor icon. You click on this, you can see the Linux operating system is getting booted, right? So this how you can able to create a private cloud environment, right? So it will take some time to deploy your private cloud on your hypervisor, right? So we just quickly move on to the next step. So, what are the problems that you're going to face during the private cloud setups? Here I have listed few problems that I have faced. Version mismatch, package version mismatch in your Opennebula private cloud host, and firewall issues. Some services will not be allowed if you're running firewall. You need to configure it properly. And if you have poor internet connection for downloading packages, it will take time. So I suggested you to have at least 1 Mbps of and 1 Mbps internet connection. And authentication problems, if you are well versed in commands, you can solve it very easily. Dependency packages during installation, that is also you need to have some experience. By practice, if you do that, you can solve those issues. KVM driver issues, you can easily rectify those issues if you install the required packages. And gem during gem installations, the you will get some issues. If you have a proper version, you will not get those issues. You can also solve it. And nested VM issues, you need to have your latest version of hardware supports virtualization to have VM is up and running. Right? These are all the few problems I have faced during the setup of private cloud. So at the end of the session, I have came to my conclusion part. So every corner of your private cloud setup, you can use full open source component. You can set it up, and Opennebula is very useful for faculty and students to learn about cloud computing and virtualization concepts. And you can simulate your real cloud environment. Not simulation. You can set up a real cloud data center environment in your labs. It is possible, and Opennebula supports hybrid cloud, so it is very good tool for data center visualization, and we explore about more virtualization topic like infrastructure as a virtualization, platform as a virtualization software. We will have a different service model, right? So those everything you can try it in private cloud using this Opennebula, and it is cost free because it's open source, flexible and secure. Features are more in Opennebula. So hope I have covered the session with this minimum time. So if you have any queries, you can put it in the chat window. Remember, ma'am, are you online? I'm done.
Yes, sir.
I think we can over to participants having queries for another 5 minutes. Then we'll conclude the session and wind up.
Participants, any queries?
So I'm just checking whether VM is booted or not. I think have some will take some time to deploy. Once it is deployed, you will get status running state here, and you will obtain IP address here, right? Also, you will get a tight VNC option. Once you click on that option, you can able to see VM is real Linux is booting there, right? So if you have any queries, I can over to participants. We'll have a one-to-one discussion for another 2 minutes. So initially, I have told you to invite you for creating free cloud storage, right? So I just shared you the link for creation of free cloud storage 2 GB. So if you invite to your friends, you will get 500 GB of 500 MB of storage space added to your account. So use the link, download the Dropbox. I have just shared it in the chat window. So those are participated here. You can just download the Dropbox from the link, and you can download the packages, and you can sign up using your email, and you will get your free storage space in your Dropbox account. So if you invite to your friends, you will also get 500 MB of storage space to you. So maximum of you can have up to 16 GB. So many of the times I used to invite my friends, and I got 16 GB of storage space in Dropbox. It is only for file storage. I think you can see it on my screen. So actually, I'm having a 16 GB of cloud storage in Dropbox in free account. So that is the 15 GB is maximum. I got up to 14.5 GB. So you can use the link that I have shared. You can download the Dropbox and install, and you will get initially 2 GB of free space. Further, you can invite your friends. If they join, you will get 500 MB, and they also get 500 MB. So I have a few more videos to share, but for time being, so I cannot share that. Participants, you can share your feedback. If you have any queries, you can ask. Otherwise, my presentation is over. I'm sharing my email and Telegram here. Please have a touch with me if you have any queries. Happy to help. Over to Premier, ma'am. Premier, ma'am, are you online?
Yes, sir. Sir, 1 second, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for providing the opportunity for delivering this session. Thank you to Sudha, ma'am, for inviting me for delivering this topic. Thank you once again. Thank you for the management. Thank you all. Thank you for the participants for listening a very long time.
Thank you very much, sir, for your demonstrative session on the creation of the private cloud using no Opennebula. So definitely
Thank
the
you.
researchers, students will be benefited from this session. So I once again thank Primya ma'am for organizing this 7 days of digital learning webinar series on biggest technology trends in 2020. And I also thank all the participants from all over India to participate in this wonderful sessions. So any feedbacks, if anyone want to chat, or you can give the suggestions, or you can have the discussions also now. Any feedbacks or any improvements or any suggestions, everyone are invited to talk. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Participants, kindly fill the feedback form carefully. Certificate will be issued based on the feedback form only.